Marie and Roberto live in the Philippines. Each night they go to bed hungry, as do 1 in 9 people worldwide. That's more than 34 times the population of Australia. And without our help, millions more will be affected. Food security is the ability for people like Marie and Roberto to access enough nutritious food to live an active and healthy life. And the single biggest threat to our efforts to achieve it? Climate change.
The researchers in the Philippines found that significantly increased or unstable rainfall or extremely cold or extremely hot temperatures lead to increased vulnerability to food insecurity and malnourished children. Today, let's talk about food security. In the end of this video, you're able to understand and identify the reason how food security works in our country and affects in our country. Explain the important concept on how to improve food security and also the components. Lastly, to discuss the 4 pillars of food security. Let's define food security. As defined by United Nations Committee on World Food Security means that all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their food preference and dietary needs for an active and healthy life. Hunger profile shows there are several statistics that provide a quick glimpse of the country's hunger profile, and all of them point to the reality that the country has a serious hunger problem. In addition, the growing population and a steady decline of agriculture productivity and food production in the last 3 years contribute to the persistent hunger and food insecurity problems in the country. July 16, the Philippines recorded the most number of food insecure people in Southeast Asia in 2017 to 2019, with 59 million Filipinos suffering from moderate to severe lack of consistent access to food. A United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization's report showed. In 2017 to 2019, at least 18.8 million Filipinos went hungry and suffered severe food insecurity. Meanwhile, FAO noted with alarm the growing number of food insecure people globally except in Europe and Northern America since 2014. There are 4 pillars of food security, namely the availability, the access, the utilization, and lastly, the stability. First is food availability. The availability of sufficient quantities of food of appropriate quality supplied through to domestic production or imports. Second is food access. Access by individuals to adequate resources, entitlements for acquiring appropriate food for a nutrition diet. Third, utilization. Utilization of food through the adequate diet, clean water, sanitation, and healthcare to reach the state of nutritional well-being where all physiological needs are met. These bring out the importance of non-food inputs in food security. Lastly, stability. To be food secure, a population, household, or individual must have access to adequate food at all times. They should not risk losing access to food as a consequence or sudden shock. Ways to improve and some solution towards food security. Reduce food waste. Reduce the risk of commercializing. Improve existing infrastructural programs. Improve trade policies. Close the yield gap. Lastly, work towards defeating climate change. The importance of food security is to help to enhance the productivity and consecutively the production of food. It can assist in providing opportunities to income generations and generally provides improving of national advice through the home economics programs and enhance the quality of rural life by the way of community development. Also, food security is very important for any economy. This is because if the population of the country is food insecure, then it won't be able to progress. For example, if the people are food insecure, then their bodies will become weaker. and thus they will become prone to diseases and malnutrition. This in turn would mean that people would not be able to engage themselves in anything productive. Hence, the economy of the country would not increase. Whereas if the people are food secure, then they will be fit and will be able to engage themselves in various jobs and thus increase the economy of the country. Now, let us listen and understand the interview of Sir William Dar, the Agriculture Secretary.
Food security remains a challenge in the COVID-19 pandemic. The Agriculture Department and other stakeholders are hoping to address this pressing issue in a two-day summit which begins today. Joining us now on the line is Agriculture Secretary William Dar. Good morning, Secretary. Thanks for taking our call.
Good morning, Ria. Thank you also for this opportunity to interact with you.
Now, Secretary, an April survey by the Science and Technology Department showed that 62% of Filipino households experienced having no food on their table during the pandemic. For you, sir, what are the main factors that led to this, and what are the main challenges of food security in the country right now?
Okay, let me generally define food security in all respects. You know, food security has to consider four dimensions: accessibility, affordability, food safety, and of course availability. Now, in almost all the commodities that we produce in agriculture, except pork today, we have more than enough. The reason why there is hunger is that this is now one of the impacts of the lockdowns that have happened every now and then, where people are out of jobs, they don't have enough money to buy food. So that's where hunger incidence is rising.
Right. Sir, I understand that the theme of the summit this year is food for today and beyond, transforming Philippine agriculture. What are the key points that you will be discussing, and what do you hope to achieve exactly in the summit?
Yes, in as much that there is a new normal already, we need to adjust our policies, so the directions with which we should be taking this country forward, and the key strategies to make it possible that we increase food sufficiency levels in most of the agricultural commodities, so that during this time of pandemic, we have more than enough food for every Filipino. So we will use these inputs from the summit to strengthen the roadmap for each of the commodity industries. So we really are preparing for the future for food security.
In light of the pandemic, which is still ongoing, sir, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Well, the short-term goal is to survive, and the medium would be to reboot Philippine agriculture, and this is part of the rebooting. And the long-term goal is to really grow Philippine agriculture to where it should be. We need to unlock and unleash the potential of Philippine agriculture, which is now contributing 10% of the gross domestic product of the country.
All right, sir. Will you be talking about modernization of agriculture?
Yes, there are four pillars to make it possible to transform Philippine agriculture from farm consolidation to modernization, to industrialization, and professionalization. So these are the key pillars to tackle and get out the details so that everyone understands where we are heading.
That's right, sir. We certainly hope you achieve that during your summit. Thank you for your time. That was Agriculture Secretary William Dar.
After we hear about what Sir William Dar explained on how Philippines are experiencing food security, and now let me add some important things that are threats to food security. First, the world population growth. Second, the increased demand for food. Third, food price. Fourth, the disappearance of variety of agriculture plant species. Fifth, the increase in the area of scarcity water and the limitation of the availability of the land. And lastly, the food losses and food waste. Thank you for watching. I hope I have able to showcase the important things and the important concept of food security.